You're early.
So golf. Why golf? I'm not a big fan of golf, so.
You ever played?
You're okay, Bob.
Huh? I used to work for a country club. I used to work for.
Right in front of the camera. Perfect.
All right, guys. So we're back here again. Another episode of Drunken Public, which you guys came on our studio podcast.
Yeah.
And we're gonna switch it up. Thanks to Sean, I ran into him. Damn, where
Craft and Growler.
Craft and Growler. No, but we met somewhere before. I forgot already.
We did a follow-up here, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Well,
they can't. Yeah, that's right.
Twice to Craft and Growler.
So I did Craft and Growler.
Twice.
See, I have a bad memory. Don't mind me. I'm
think,
also an alcoholic.
Yeah, well. Like the rest of us.
Easy now.
Oh.
You know, don't group people in this collective. I mean, I admit it, but I don't want to put people in my problems.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank you guys for having me here.
absolutely.
You guys have always been great fun to hang out with. Last time we were here, we had the barbecue festival you guys had here, which was phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah.
I wish I had this set up then, so I could take better pictures and better audio, and it would have been a lot more fun. But we'd be there next year, too.
Next May, we do it again.
And then you guys, so first of all, let's do your Oktoberfest. Salud. My first
Cheers.
time drinking out of Stein. Prost. That's a good. This is my first time drinking out of Stein, first of all, and then that's a good beer right there.
Thanks. Thank you.
That's a really good beer right there, real solid. So with that being said, Oktoberfest next weekend.
Yeah.
Sir.
And you said it's your favorite event.
It is my favorite event we put on.
So why is that your favorite event?
It's laid back. That's why.
I mean, it's like hang out.
So we don't charge people to come in. It's just you come, you hang out, you have a good time. Yeah. It's just like a Saturday, but it's a big event for us. So we get dressed up in our lederhosen and so
awesome.
There's no charge to come in. So it's hang out. It's a fun event for me partially because there's no real major planning, no stress surrounded around the event because it's just simple. So.
Well, for the anniversary party, we're gearing up for making all the pilot beers and the one-offs, getting that stuff out of the cellar. For the barbecue competition, we're blocking off the parking lot. It's
Tons
chaos.
Of people.
Chaos.
It's chaos.
For this, we set up a tent outside, pour beer that we already have made, and we just have a blast. It's a lot of fun. Have a oompa guy playing around with an accordion. KB Brats will be outside.
Yeah.
We're doing hammer slogging, which is the hammer game.
Stein
holding with the big steins.
I just found out what that was, so I know it sounds stupid, but just found out what that was because I thought holding the stein out, the competition is when you hold your arm out and then you try to drink the beer. That's a completely different game.
You would get a little wet, I think. Unless you had alligator arms. I don't know.
So, one of the coolest parts about our Oktoberfest party is that we raise a lot of money for the charity that our beer supports. So every year, different local breast cancer foundation receives 10% of the proceeds from the sale of our Oktoberfest beer.
Nice.
So last year we ended up giving right around $10,000 to this charity. So
Nice.
this year,
That's awesome.
every year we make more. So this year we'll probably do more. We make more beer, so we sell more beer, and so.
Well, I'll be part of that because I just found out I live like literally 2 minutes from you guys. So I'll be here next weekend, giving you my money for a donation.
Nice.
All right, cool. So just to clarify, it's 10% of all of our off-site sales, meaning kegs and everything we sell off-site, and then for the event, 10% of all the sales from the Oktoberfest event here.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
No, but that's amazing. $10,000 last year.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So this year the charity is the Bridge Breast Network. They were actually the charity the first year we did it. We brought them back. They provide funding for low-income families that can't afford the treatment or diagnosis. So kind of gets them. It's a bridge. It gets them from diagnosis through treatment. So. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I never heard of them, so I'm definitely be glad
You
to
haven't had
support
breast
that.
cancer, so that's a good thing.
Well, not, but just organization. I mean, men could get breast cancer too.
That is true.
Men can get it,
It's
But
called moob cancer, though.
mood cancer.
Moob.
Moob.
Man boob. Moob.
Don't. What are you talking about? I'm a little subconscious about that right now. I've been working on my push-ups. But just,
Glass houses. I'm not throwing stones.
no, you're an athlete though. We are professional
Well,
football
was I think is probably the, just like me
I
was.
don't think I ever thought of myself as an athlete. More beer drinking.
Sean was almost a professional golfer, I think. at one
Yeah,
point
it
in time.
was.
No way. So popping Sean's podcast, Jerry. What's going on, Sean? It's your first time here, and you're a pro golfer is what I'm hearing. So you're really good at golf.
Almost.
Man, I haven't played in
Coach would have put him in,
several
you know.
months. I don't even play anymore. Yeah.
Bob's here early.
So golf. Why golf? I'm not a big fan of golf. So,
You ever played?
You're okay, Bob.
huh? I used to work for a country club. I used to work
You're
for.
right in front of the camera. Perfect.
Look at this guy.
Come in.
Yeah, put your face in front of it.
Yeah, I mean,
that way they can see who walked in front.
There he
That's
is.
Bob
Hey,
right there.
Say what up, everybody.
What's going on, Bob?
Bob's here every Friday. He drinks a lot of freaky deaky.
Pretend I'm Rick.
Okay, all right, there
What
we
up,
go.
Rick?
That's Rick.
He'll be here soon too.
Yeah.
So-
So man, I don't know.
I mean, golf is hard. I'm not really good at it, so that's part of why I hate it. Like, maybe.
I'll tell you why I started. Tiger Woods. Big
Fair
fan.
enough.
Big
Fair
fan.
enough.
Yeah.
Did any updates on him on his
He
run for
went
third place?
He even today.
Mm.
Yeah.
Main deal is he
Three
was
birdies,
selected to the
three
Ryder
birdies,
Cup.
three
He was
birdies, yeah.
the coach's pick to the Ryder Cup, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
So we also got our fresh hops in today for our decorations. And
For the
Oh,
October
wow.
event, yeah. So we don't always keep these here, but it looks really cool. But
I was
so take
wondering.
one, roll around your hand, smash it up,
Yeah.
get the release the rolls and smell your hands.
Oh wow.
So that's what we're trying to get when we put it in the beer is that
Yeah.
that earthy, piney, citrusy smell.
It's a big
aroma.
different smell from when when you put it in my hand, I smelled it first, and then when you crush it.
Oh yeah.
It's all the oils,
So
releasing all the oils.
inside of each little thing, let me see if I can show you. Yeah, you see that little yellow thing right there?
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
that's the pollen of the cone there. These are flowers, and that's what has all the alpha acids that makes the smell and the aroma and the flavor. So yeah, pretty cool. We came in yesterday.
So it's hop season right now.
Hop
So
season.
they're
Hop harvest.
All the farmers were all over the place are
harvesting.
Harvest
Yep.
time.
So, well, it's time. In a couple 3 weeks, hop harvest will happen. So what that means is most of you brewers, or the bigger breweries, will go around to the different farms and pick out their hops that they want. They'll go in, they'll smell them, they'll go through the do. Okay, I'll take this strain from you, that strain from you, and lock them down. And small guys like us have to fend for everything else.
I got
I
to
remember
get,
that. Well, you guys are big. You guys are big now.
last year I got to go to a hop farm and and see the actual process, which was pretty cool. It was up in Michigan.
Is it similar to like grape? Like it may sound stupid. I don't know. I've never seen a harvest. Is it similar to
No.
harvesting grapes?
No.
So
It's it's
grape
different.
plants grow about this tall.
And
Yeah.
you cut the fruit off.
Yeah, yeah.
These they take the whole plant.
Yeah.
They cut it
And
down
so-
at the bottom, take the whole plant. So
takes like 7 years for a grape plant to produce a
Good grape.
sustaining amount of fruit. Takes 3 years for a hop vine. Hop vines are perennial; they grow back every year. Is that right? Or annual?
I think
They-
perennials. You're right. I think bottom line is it's
They cut them off
rhizomes
and
in the ground.
then they grow back
every year.
up. But they grow 25, 30 feet in the air, so they have
And
these,
grow out.
have these big trellises, and they climb up a
Twine. and-
twine or whatever. It's really cool to see. And then you just
wow.
come by and snip them at the top of the bottom, run them through a.
It
machine
really
that
was one of the
strips
coolest
everything
things
off.
I've ever seen. Like the whole process, and
25 feet is a lot. You don't realize how tall 25 feet
they
is
go
until
up
you
and
see
they go
it,
out.
yeah.
I mean, think about a telephone pole like that one out there, and imagine the lines coming off the sides, and they'll grow out. And I mean, the whole idea is you want it to go up, but you also want it to go out, just to get more hops. So
Do you want it to go? So do they? So the people, of course, these people are professionals, so they map out where they plant their seeds
Right.
and where it grows, and to make sure they have enough place to grow.
Yeah.
So is it harder to grow like good hops? Like
It's a very environmentally
Yeah.
sensitive.
It's super hard to grow here. It
Yeah.
can be grown here, but the amount of water that is required for them
Is
is insane. I mean,
So Washington, Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, Montana, Michigan, upper northern regions.
With a
where
lot
it
of
grows the
rain.
best. Yeah, well, not just a lot of rain, cooler temperatures as well.
so here it's so hot. We grew some hops in my house.
We tried.
10 years ago, I had like
We got
eight-
about this many
8
after
plants.
a little while.
Well,
Yeah.
what happened was we had 9 plants, and I watered them every day religiously. I went away for one weekend, missed 2 days of water, and came back, and 6 of the 9 plants were just dead.
And they need tons of sun. That's the other thing is like, and we had them on the side of his house, so it didn't get as much sun. And
We made a beer with them. They were good. I mean,
look, I could get them. I have a vegetable garden and stuff like that. I like to.
So you got a green thumb, you're good.
I could probably get them to grow, but could I get them to grow where it's worthwhile for us to use? Absolutely not.
It sounds difficult, and I know that I'm an amateur when it comes to all this information, but it sounds difficult. But I would see it being interesting to go to one because 25 feet is ridiculous. Understand, like, I don't know, if you look at basketball players, 7 feet tall is ridiculous as a person, right?
Right.
And a telephone pole is what? That's 20 feet?
It's probably that's probably 25.
25.
25? Well, I only see right here.
Yeah.
2.5 stories.
Yeah, so, and then seeing that as a tree, that's ridiculous. So, on a side note to that is, how many pounds of hops would you need for, like, your Oktoberfest and things like that? Like, what would you need? How much would you need to?
well, so we use pelletized hops, so they're a little different than these. So
Okay.
they'll take the cones off the plant. They'll dry them in a kiln for a little bit, get the moisture content down, and they'll put them into a machine that just smashes them into pellets, and that helps. It chops them up and smashes them into pellets. And what that does is it helps when you put them in the boil, you get more surface contact, so you get more actual utilization. If you threw one of these hops, a fresh hop, into your boil, you're not going to get the full isomerization or utilization of the alpha acids that are in here because you're hitting a lot of the leaf crap that's not there. So
Takes up a lot of space too.
yeah, so when they chop it up, you get a lot more utilization. So I think in our Oktoberfest we use like maybe 10 pounds.
Harper just walked by. It's probably about 10 pounds.
Yeah, it's not
But
much.
It's,
I
it's
mean-
a couple of different varieties of hops. A bittering hop, and then we use a aroma and floral hop in it as well.
But
So.
10 pounds is a lot, though.
Well, not really in a
Not in a
30-barrel
30-barrel
batch.
batch, no,
So I mean, it all
what?
depends on what you're. I mean, like our derelict, our IPA. I know it has upwards of 65 to 70 pounds of hops. So just to do a difference in how much that actually goes into it, and obviously it's different hops as well. So.
But obviously, people who are watching this, they know how much of an amateur. Because I'm like, oh, 10 pounds is a lot. Then you just said 65 to 70 pounds.
Yeah.
for
Well, that's the
IPA?
difference between an IPA, and a nice and easy drinking lager that's got some bitterness on the back end. But if you notice on Oktoberfest, it's got the perfect amount of malt sweetness up front, nice, crisp, clean finish on the back end.
It's not a hot. It's not supposed to
Let's
be a
talk
hot
about
beer,
Oktoberfest.
right?
So I'm not a big fan of a lot of Oktoberfest because I feel like a lot of people do it wrong. Like a lot of people don't do it right.
So here's my philosophy on that. It's just like IPAs. In America, we think if a little bit of something's fantastic, a lot of it's great. So, we get to the IPA standpoint, you have a style, and then all of a sudden people go, well, it's an imperial IPA, it's a double IPA, it's a triple IPA, it's 700 pounds of hops in a 30-pound batch. It's so
Yeah.
bitter you can't. It kind of overplays the style. With Oktoberfest, I feel most American Oktoberfests are way too malt forward. They're way too in-your-face sweet. An Oktoberfest is meant to be drank out of big steins in large quantities.
much sugar,
Yeah,
like, it
and
tastes
so
like-
if it's too malty, if it's too in-your-face, too roasty, I think that's just not two style. So we try to strive for as close to what you would expect to find in Munich, not at the tents because they don't serve Martins at the tents, but at a bar in Munich. And this is just a nice, easy drinking. Little malt sweet, nice crisp finish on the back.
Yeah, it's sweeter than, like, not sweeter, like, I don't want to misplay it. So on an amateur level, like I am. So I grew up in New York City, and Oktoberfest is really big in New York City. Maybe not as big as certain places like Chicago and things
Sure,
like that.
right, yeah.
But we have a nice, good community out there. But when we drink, and I was lucky enough to work at a bar, and I got a chance to experience like real European beer, Oktoberfest beer. And I was like, that's good, it's a good beer. And I wasn't a big beer fan at the time, mind you. So that's the style of beer I liked, that was cool. But then when you about 4 or 5 years ago, I'm here in Texas, and you hear Oktoberfest everywhere because it became a big trend.
Yeah.
Well, it's a big German population here in Texas.
Well, a lot of
too,
people
so.
try to make it.
Yeah.
And then for me, going from the festivals where having traditional October, that style of beer, and I don't know what the style of beer is supposed to be, but I just know Oktoberfest there's a certain style.
So there's
for
two.
that.
You got to be careful.
Yeah,
So
there can be a.
the traditional Oktoberfest is a
Okay.
Marzen style lager. It's a copper-colored brown.
This is what it looks
That's
like.
what
to me.
this
This is
is
a
what
Marzen
looks
lager,
like.
okay? The beer that they serve at Oktoberfest in Munich and have served for the past 40 years in Munich, it's called a Fest beer. It's a light golden lager. It's
Oh,
in
see?
between. It's not quite as sweet as a Helles, not quite as dry as a Dortmunder. It's kind of right in the middle of the style. It's
okay.
So that you got to be careful when people say Oktoberfest. You may not know what they're referring to. Most people want Oktoberfest, at least in Texas, they say it's a Martin style lager. And if they say Fest beer, that's the golden lager that you get at Oktoberfest.
See, I always thought that was like the fake Oktoberfest, the golden lager. I didn't know. And then
They switched about 40 years ago. The breweries in Munich switched and started serving that golden lager instead. And for a while, you could get both. Now, all you can get is the Fest beer. You can get a Weiss beer, or you can get a Radler.
it's good to know. I'm glad because I always say that was the fake Oktoberfest beer because
No,
most
it's
people
real.
sell it.
So we're actually going to have a fest beer at our
Yep.
Oktoberfest too.
Okay,
So
so I will try that too.
Yep.
Can't wait to try
It's
it.
delicious.
it is delicious.
But this is what I think of when I think of Oktoberfest. A
Yep.
nice golden
Yep.
brown. It has a nice hint of sweet, but it's not feel like I'm drinking candy.
Right.
It's not sugary.
Exactly.
You want that.
And it's clean. There's some people.
Has to be.
Yeah.
It's crisp, clean. You want it to finish dry.
It makes you want to drink more. Versus when some people who, the reason why I said it earlier, no offense to anybody that I've tried it in the past, but a lot of times when you drink, it's like maybe have one. I'm like, it doesn't finish right to me, and that was too sweet. I don't want it.
A good lager should be crisp and make you wanting for another sip.
And this is what
Absolutely.
this does. What do you think?
It's fantastic, man.
It's easy for Sean to sell it. I can tell you that. So.
That is.
So you did a lot of driving today,
Every day.
every day.
Driving your car or driving the golf ball?
Well, you know he's pro.
Play golf, play golf today?
No.
Yeah, no, man. I'm all over the place. All day, every day.
So what is a typical day for you supporting and being part of Oak Highland Brewery?
Yeah.
If there is a typical day, every day is different for every work environment.
It is. Still working on my route, man. But it's just seeing the customers and getting samples, and getting sales, man. That's all there is to it.
Seeing any trends out there? Because I see some. I like the new trend that's going on with people liking lighter beers, lagers and pilsners coming back, and I'm a really big fan of that because I'm not a big.
It's good to hear from him because he's like he's our he's on the streets. He's
Yeah,
the word on the
street level,
streets,
yeah.
what he's hearing all the time, and he says the same
Man
stuff.
of the people.
Well, I don't know if I call it that, but he knows the trends and he lets us know, so that's cool.
Yeah. After Labor Day holiday, Freaky was really hot. Really hot. Everywhere I went, blown out. Surprisingly, man, the golden mustache. And I know that's a trend that's coming with the lagers.
Yeah.
Golden mustache was completely blown too. So I like to see it. I know that's everybody's favorite beer here at the brewery. But it's just a really clean, crisp, easy drinking lager.
No, it's great. We had
Yeah.
we had it. And we like it a lot. My thing is, I just like the trend that's going on right now with cleaner beers.
Cleaner,
Again,
lighter beers.
I'm not a big fan of IPAs, which
Right.
I've grown to like certain types of IPA. I like the juice IPAs, the sweeter ones, which is fine. But that's not style traditional.
Right.
But the lager tradition is coming back, and the pilsner tradition is
Yeah.
coming back, and
Yes.
I like those clean beers and easily drink too. Like for a while, we would drink on the show 10%, 12%, 13%.
Yeah.
You can't drink that all day.
Well, we've always said it's like the lighter beers and lighter body beers. Oktoberfest is a great example. I mean, you don't brew this thing perfect, then the imperfections in it can shine, and that's
Lagers.
when
Lagers.
Same thing.
lagers and
Lagers are real.
We're just saying lighter beers in general,
Yeah.
and so lagers or even like a Kolsch or something like that. So
Kolsch's,
Yeah, I just say,
I'm a
I
big fan
say-
of Kolsch's.
The thing about lagers is diacetyl. That the buttered popcorn taste. It really shines through on a lager because of how long it ages. And so if you don't, it's like you were saying, it is really hard to make a great lager. And so
So how do you guys do it so well there?
we have good brewers.
good brewers time. So you got to get the beer time.
Matt Pennington,
Lagers.
man.
Matt Pennington. I
Yeah.
feel like that's your head brewer, right?
Yeah.
That's the head brewer.
That's
Yeah.
like, you guys talked about it before. Sorry, I'm not a bad memory alcoholic. So.
We've already been through that.
Yeah.
But so we were talking about, which I'm a big fan of the new tradition of not the tradition, but the trend, the upward trend of getting lighter beers back, lagers, pilsners,
Lagers are making a comeback.
Kolsch's, which I didn't think I was gonna be a big fan of Kolsch's, but lately we've been drinking a lot of Kolsch's, which has been a lot of fun. So I'm a big supporter of that because I like clean, easy drinking beers.
Yeah.
Something you can sit all day
Yeah.
and drink. You know, if I'm cooking all day, like Sundays is my cooking day. I can't drink a 10% beer all day.
Oh, you can, but I mean,
The
you better
food
start
ain't gonna
later.
come out good. The food ain't gonna come out. My house gonna look a mess, maybe, but
No, there definitely, there's a time and a place for everything. I mean, mid-August in Dallas is not the best time for a 12% Russian Imperial Stout.
I mean,
they're delicious and you can have one, but you're not going to sit around a pool and drink 10 of them.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the cool things about our Guava Good and our Mustache and All Good. Those are beers that people can they're not too high in alcohol content. They're super refreshing, and they're beers that people can sit around outside, enjoy the outside with without getting overly.
sauced.
Yeah, well, sauce, but more than just like the heaviness of it, or the cloyingness of some beers, including some of the ones we make. I mean, I'm not going to sit out by the pool and drink 10 Freaky Deakies.
I mean, you can.
Well, I'd I'd be at the bottom of the pool. Need some help.
Drink responsibly is what he's saying. No, I want to say, we talk about this a lot on podcasts, but we haven't really talked to you on the podcast about it. Last time you guys were officially on the podcast, we talked about the Guava Good and how we were kind of disappointed with the Guava Good.
Yeah.
And we related more to the can. Maybe it was an older batch, and there was probably some off flavors because being
Originally,
old.
right?
Originally.
Yeah.
The first time we
yeah,
talked
right.
in the cave.
Then we came to for the it's a funny story about that. And then the bunker. It definitely was the bunker. It was the bunker. Then we came here to support the barbecue fest, and
You got it fresh.
We got a fresh Guava Good, and we both loved it. Me and my co-host.
Yep.
And so I want to say officially on with you guys that we recanted that statement that we didn't like it.
No, but it happened. So beer has a shelf life. I mean, it does deteriorate with age. I mean, that's why the big guys put Born on dates and Best By dates, and that's why we put canned on dates. We for most of our beers, our shelf life is 6 months. If you see a beer of ours that's over 6 months old,
You're taking a risk.
well, you're not taking a risk, but it'll still be fine. That's what we say. Okay, we're going to go out and look at the stores, and if they haven't moved, we're going to buy it back. And we're going to replace it with fresh. That's some of our beers. Now, most of our lagers, you're talking a year. And Freaky Deaky, that you can have one for 6 years ago, and it's going to be amazing.
Freaky Deaky gets better and better with age.
Really?
Yeah.
It's amazing. You can
Yeah.
put that away at 10%. You can put it away in your cellar, and
It gets
fine.
better
We got
and
one that
better
was.
and
We made some that we put in Belgian bottles and laid them down. Last one I think I had was 3 years old. I think.
Yeah, at least.
And
Because it was like Christmas time.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was
God.
amazing.
3 to 4 years old.
So I need to buy some Freaky Deaky and save it. 'Cause
It's
I've been
fantastic.
starting our Dallas Beer Talk cellar.
Do
Perfect.
it. I've had a hard time cellaring any of the Freaky Deaky because it sells so well. It's like, oh shit, we need it. I mean, we don't whatever. So I definitely need to grab some kegs and throw it in my stockpile of all the cellar beers. So.
I'll grab
But
some.
we do. I mean, it does a great job of aging.
So circling back though, there is a shelf life for all beer, and
Yes.
and so it is important for consumers to check the canned on, Best By, whatever date on there, because if you get a beer that's 8 months old, it may not be the best, especially because most craft brewers like us, we don't pasteurize our beer. The big boys they do. So anybody that's a regional craft brewer, they're pasteurizing their beer. They're running it through a tunnel that heats it to 180 degrees before they cool it back down to 30 degrees. So it's going to kill anything that could possibly be in there, any yeast, anything else like that. Small breweries just don't have that ability. It's a super expensive piece of machinery. So the only thing that means is that our shelf life is a lot smaller. So the same beer, if we pasteurize this beer, I'd give this beer a year's shelf life as a lager. If we pasteurize it, it'd probably have a 3-year shelf life.
It also
But we
depends.
wouldn't, we would never make a beer that we want somebody to drink 3 years from now.
I have a question.
It also depends on how it's like treated. Meaning, if it goes to a store and it's back in a hot warehouse for it's gonna make it. You don't want
Big difference.
Yes, big difference on
So
shelf life.
on that point I want to say I'm very glad you guys stood behind your beer, and it was like, trust me, when you come to the brewery, it's gonna be better, and it was. So major props to you guys for standing behind
you.
it.
Well, I
Second of all,
think that's indicative of at least the Dallas industry. If you anytime you see somebody, let's talk Dallas craft beer or something. Hey, I had a bottle of this or a can of this that was off. You immediately see the brewery going, hey, do you have the can? Do you have the bottle? What's on the bottom?
Yeah.
Let me get to the bottom of this, because look, that's our lifeblood. I mean, we're wanting to make sure that whatever we're putting in the marketplace is great, and it happens. There are cans that the lids or the can itself has got a little malfunction too, so it leaks. There are batches of beer that you like for guava good. Sometimes it gets to the bottom of our bright tank, and there's actually guava fruit that makes it into a can, and that's
like
not
that.
what we want. It turns out really super pink instead of yellow and hazy. So, there are things that happen, but we want to make sure that we give our customers the best experience. And so we take ownership of any issues that come out. And if you don't, then that I think that's a sign of who you really are. And we haven't seen that in Dallas.
No, you haven't seen it. I want to say a lot of the brewery people have been active on social media. You guys, Michael Penicolas, Martin House, for examples. I've seen interactions online where saying this can blew up. Martin House last year had a problem with one of their beers. I can't remember that was blowing up, but they took responsibility for it and to change things out. So I know from the local scene, I feel like people are really active on social media and really connected to the community.
Yeah.
So again, big props to that for all you guys. I love you guys.
Well, but that's the point. I mean, we are engaging with our customers, and the feedback that they give us is vitally important. And so I encourage that to everybody who's listening. If you get something that's not what you think is right, reach out to the brewery directly or put it on social media. Don't flame them, because it may not be a situation that they had any idea happened. And just
things happen.
Yeah, we're human and it's manufacturing, but I guarantee you every local brewery will do something to help make it right to everyone who experiences that.
No, we've talked about this on the podcast before. I've been trying to do more aspects of the beer process because I'm still new to it. So Sean doesn't know my backstory a little bit. This show started with us just introducing me to craft beer, and then it grew and grew and grew. With this being said, the more I met more people in the craft beer industry, mostly brewers and owners and sales reps, it became more like I want to hang out with you guys because everybody is super down to earth so far I've met, and everybody I've met is willing to take critique and say, okay, well, maybe this is why you don't like it. Maybe this is what's more for you. And super informational, super friendly, super willing to be like, okay, well, we'll work together. Let's figure this out together. Yeah. And as far as the business side of it, I've seen it on multiple beer forums. Let's Talk Craft Beer would be one of them. When someone does flame them for whatever stupid reason, because it happens.
Yeah.
Their interaction with, I don't know, it would be you guys personally or a social media manager.
There's a lot
or
of people that
sales
stick
rep.
up for breweries online. Like, hey, man, just reach out to them. And that's the thing. As long
But
as
even though I've seen interactions where I see maybe a social media person or like for Michael Pericolos, for example, we talked about it with other bloggers saying that they saw Michael respond to a critic and say, well, if you don't like this, we have other beers for you that you may like, and you come to the brewery. Just come to the brewery.
Yeah, sure. And that's one of the things that everybody, including us as manufacturers, have to understand is that just because I love this beer doesn't mean you're going to love this beer.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that this beer is bad. Just doesn't. It means that that's not your particular beer, and that's okay because as long as you're drinking beer, it's rising tide floats all ships. So having everyone understand that, oh, well, that particular beer is not for you. I got 15 others. I promise you, I'll dial you into something you can suffer through if you don't like it. I mean, I promise. But
the one thing that gets I think that gets us a lot is like, and I know it's the same for every other brewery. Is like when someone says something, it's like, oh, not my favorite style, and then flames the beer.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, then why did you try that beer
or
if it's not your favorite style?
My favorite is somebody buys one of our IPAs and says too hoppy.
Yeah.
So,
I don't like hops, but I tried the derelict.
Come on.
All right.
So
it happens.
But think about what I'm lucky enough to the other aspect of that of this part of his bloggers, beer bloggers, and I've been sitting more with beer people, beer bloggers, beer organizers, like the Dallas Beer Squad, NCX, Craft Beer, hanging out with these people and sitting down with them and talking to them. And what I like about their approach to it is they talk about beers they like only on their platforms, and then beers they don't like. If someone asks them about it, they say it was interesting. And it's more, no more, no less. It was interesting, not for them. But they don't go on social media and talk about every beer they try. They talk about the ones they like and promote the ones they like, which is, I like that approach. I don't know if that's biased in a way, but
So
I like
think
that
the
approach.
thing that doesn't bother me the most, but the thing that irritates me, doesn't bother me, irritates me, and beer bar owners it irritates too, is when somebody gets a taster and they get a 2-ounce pour and they taste it and then they rate it like that. You haven't given that beer a chance
To live, yeah.
Yeah, you tried 1/8 of what that beer should possibly be if it's a pint. It needs to sit, needs to open up a little bit. Beer's not. Sorry, Twin Peaks, but beer's not meant to be served at 29 degrees. It's not at all. It's supposed to be a little bit warmer. It's supposed
29
to be
degrees Celsius is what he's talking about.
You're right. Well, no, God, well, that'd be hot. Anyway, so point being is, give the beer a chance. I mean, it may not be your style, but if don't rate a beer on a taster. That's a terrible way to do it.
I had this big rant with I'm lucky enough to sit with Oak Highland Brewery a few weeks ago, and I had this whole big rant about Untapped and how I really don't like platforms like Untapped and Yelp and things like that. I don't like it because what I taste is not what you taste, and my taste profile is not your taste
Goes
profile.
back to what I said.
So I hate it because people look at the Untapped rate and say, like, let's say it's Oktoberfest. If they saw it as a 3 out of 5, somebody's gonna look at it as like, oh, it's only a 3 out of 5. I only try 5 stars. I only try 5-star beers, 4-star beers. I'm like, well, your profile is not their profile.
Right.
And what you like, everybody's different, and also. Right. Your mood changes, your taste. But it's a lot of things. I went on a big rant. I had to cut that, like 45 minutes of me yelling about Untapped.
No, it's 100% fair. But at the same point in time, it gives the consumer a chance to say, this is what I like. Isn't that great? Because, look, again, we all have different flavors. My favorite analogy is beers like art. I think about 15, 20 years ago, I went to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, and there was a friggin' gold toilet in the middle of a room. I was like, okay, I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to feel about this, but the guy next to me was like, isn't this amazing? I'm like, okay. So, but we're both talking about art, I may not have liked it, but he liked it, but we're talking about art. So as long as we're all talking about beer instead of wine or spirits, it makes us all happy.
Yeah, I mean, taste buds is a really weird thing. It's a really weird thing, but you do need to. So I forgot the Cicerone program. Oh, thank you, sir. The Cicerone program, I learned from Jennifer DeVito lady that she was attempting to take the Cicerone program, and I don't know. I'm sorry, Jennifer, if I'm misspeaking for you, but I don't know if she ever finished it. Yeah. But I know she was taking it and looking into it.
Sure.
And a part of the Cicerone program, they teach you how to taste the beer. Right. And part of it is let it open up, like you said, let it sit and open up, and let the air hit it, and let it come to room temp. Second of all, you have to have multiple tastings.
Yep.
So the first taste will be like initial profile and be good or bad, and then the second tasting, it's analyzing it. The third tasting or fourth taste is when you really get to the platform of the part of the tasting where you like, I like it, I don't like it, and now I know how to break it down. Part of it, because it takes 3 tastings to break it down, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And all this, I'm really happy about this podcast because the last few podcasts about us drinking and chugging beer.
No.
so we can chug a beer later.
Yeah.
Chugging.
Tasting beer is as complex as tasting wine. It is. But wine is meant to be sipped. Beer is meant to be consumed. You consume a lot more beer than you do wine, so you hardly ever get the chance to actually taste it. And the more you consume, the less you taste. So, a lot of times people have an initial gut reaction to a beer that if they just gave it a second,
Thank you so much, sir.
second, third, fourth sip or try, they would get the flavors. And a lot of people we get with our guava, they're like, oh wait, I've never had guava. I don't know if I like this. They take a sip, they're like, oh wait, that's interesting. And then try a real guava, and it's a little different. Guava's a lot more sweet than what we get in our beer, but it's a process, and it's not. There are some things you taste, and you're immediately like, no, I'm out.
Not for me.
Not for me. And they're Roush beers. Any Roush beer, I'm out. I'm out.
We agree on that.
Finally, we agree on something.
I got enough Roush beers that I know that no matter what you try to tell me they're going to taste like, I know it's going to taste like brisket, and I want to eat brisket and not drink it. So
I like beer and I like campfires. I do not like beer campfires or campfire beers.
So we don't make a Roush beer, although our Matt wants to make one. And we give him the green light. I just told him I won't drink it.
So it sounds like I won't like it either because I never had one.
It's a smoked beer.
Yeah, it sounds like I don't like it. I already don't like the way it sounds, but I will try it.
Give it a shot. You might really like it.
You never know.
No, I don't like smoky drinks.
Okay.
Then you won't like it.
You won't like a Roush beer.
Yeah. Well, the same thing with but I know I've grown to know through people like you trying to muscle a lot of different I forget the beers. You brought a lot of beers on French beers. We talk about it.
Saison.
Saison, yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Bad again, alcoholic. Sorry. So the saison beers. I wasn't a big fan of saisons, but I didn't even realize there was different styles of saison.
Oh, sure.
Oh God.
So when
It's
you
So it's
widest variety
it's
of
the
any style.
It's the broadest category of any beer style that you can have. I mean, it goes
2.5% up to 10, 11%, and anything from light straw colored up to dark colored,
and then dry to sweet, like you
Dry to
guys.
sweet,
name it. I
sour
mean, it
to
is without a
bitter.
doubt.
I mean, it's just
the most
crazy.
wide open.
I didn't
style
realize
there is.
that. I've had maybe one or two before you guys, and I was like, oh, I don't like the style. But that's arrogant of me, not knowing a lot about the style. B, I mean, A.
Well, I don't
B,
know if it's arrogance. I mean, it's just one of those things that, saisons came into fashion 6-7 years ago.
Oh, maybe a little bit longer. I mean, it's probably back when Saison DuPont, when best.
Yeah, I mean, but it hasn't been a style that you can get very often. So
True.
when you see a saison, something makes a saison, you're like, well, okay, well, usually it's going to fit into one norm. It's going to be a saison DuPont clone, super sour, real tart, real refreshing,
Real light color.
or it's going to be like our Hypocrite, which is going to be more heavy on the spices. So you're going to get the orange peel, coriander, grains
and
of
it
paradise
finished
nuts.
clean though.
Yeah, no, it does finish clean.
I like the Hypocrite though. That's why I like the Hypocrite a lot. It finished really clean, but I realized that it wasn't a dry because I don't like dry wines.
Okay.
I don't like anything dry. Why am I drinking it? I might have to take a shot of whiskey.
There you go.
Let's go. Let's finish it that way. But
Do it.
Sean,
Let's do it.
we
Oh.
let's go. We're gonna shotgun a beer. We're gonna shotgun a beer on camera after this, and that's gonna be our intro.
That's
Let's
fine.
do
Hey,
it.
up,
Let's do it.
up. There it is.
It's
That's
okay.
cool.
No,
Yeah,
keep
keep
going.
walking.
Keep going.
We're recording.
It's all right. It's
See,
all
we're
good.
opening now.
No, it's all
It's
good.
editing. It's editing.
Yes.
Anonymous. I don't exist.
I'm gonna keep putting those in there.
Please do.
No,
It's all
but-
the hops. They just keep looking at the hops and just keep walking by.
Oh.
What's going on, man?
No, so unfortunately, I love you guys having it here, but Sean hasn't had a lot to talk about. So, what is your favorite style of beer, Sean?
Favorite style of beer? IPA.
Oh, what you-
without
IPA?
A doubt, man.
Okay.
Yeah, without a doubt. But we talked about the Oktoberfest event here.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
weekend?
We talked.
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch this. We
Next
brushed on it.
weekend.
We
Yes.
brushed on it. Next weekend's on
Yeah.
15th, right?
15th.
15th. Starting what time?
Noon.
Noon. So I will be here at noon.
Noon is
So we have
six.
KB Brats coming, serving some German food. We'll have a traditional German band.
Can people buy the?
So
Steiner?
yeah, so I was going to explain this. So you get for, I think it's 10. I think did we say 10? 10
Yeah,
or
it's
15
10.
bucks. We're not sure yet, but whatever
it's
you
10
do,
bucks.
you get this Stein. It gets the first fill for free, and then
all
every
that.
other
First
fill
free
after
for
that
fill.
is still $5. So you're going to get a half-liter pour for a 12-ounce.
We're recording. Yeah.
Thank you, bud. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll get a half-liter pour for the price of a pint. So it's a good deal. And we'll have Stein holding competitions, Hammerschlagen, German food, German music.
So real Stein is heavier than this, right?
It's a Moss.
It's
It's double this.
twice.
Twice that size.
So
Yeah.
imagine holding that.
The best
Look,
is
my arms already shaking.
the best is to the end when they start shaking.
It's like, oh, my God,
Beer
there
goes
it is.
everywhere
There
just
it
like
is.
that.
Look, my arm, like,
So
look at it,
shaking.
it's already moving. Like I'm trying to hold it still as best I
So
can.
maybe you shouldn't enter the
No,
Stein.
probably
No,
won't.
I'm
It's probably
gonna
better
go
with a
against you.
Hammerschlagen.
A personal competition, yes. We
So-
have a personal competition.
I don't know if you know what Hammerschlagen is. So you
No.
take a nail and they tap it in a little bit, and it's pretty cool. So it's basically a big piece of wood, similar to this. You can put probably 6 people around it.
Yay,
Hold on
Swan
one
is
second.
right.
You take the wedge.
Yay, Swan is right. Hold on, guys. We're filming right here. Sorry.
That's all right.
Out of the camera way.
Probably a good call there.
I'll come see it.
So you take the wedge. It's a certain size hammer. I think it's a 2-pound or 3-pound hammer.
2.5 pound, I
And,
think.
and
That's 2.5 pounds.
it has a but it has a wedge. So there's a wedge on the end, and you gotta use that wedge in, and you try to get your hammer. You hit the nail. You try and you be the first person. Go around the horn. Try to be the first person to get your nail all the way flush with the wood. It's a lot harder than it sounds, especially since you've been drinking a little bit. So
Take a 2-pound nail.
Hammer.
it's a
You start with a hammer on the ground, on the wood, and you try to hit the nail one time.
And if you do this, that nail's going to go bing, go flying off. So, or bent, and then you
Yeah.
have to use one of your turns to hit it back straight.
Oh, so you just can't go willy nilly like bing, 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 bing,
Hey,
bing.
No.
it is a turtle versus the hare. It's the slow and steady wins the race. Do not try and hammer hit
I
it.
was
Come
right.
out
hard.
and see for yourselves.
Yes,
It's going to be a blast.
exactly. Trust me,
So-
it's a lot of fun.
I want to, because I'm already thinking. So you have to take turns. Because if it was up to me, I'll just hold it and little hits. Bang, bang,
No.
bang, bang.
So it's one at a time. Bam. You hold it down.
Pass the
bam.
hammer.
Pass the hammer. Then you would pass to Sean.
But then
Sean
you
pass to
get
Brad.
so that's the competition because then you get anxious if you see
Somebody
someone
hits it solid and knocks it, an inch into the wood. you're like,
Yeah,
"Ooh."
yeah.
So the next
Yeah,
time you
and
hit
then-
it and you bend it
and then
over,
you bend
like,
it over
"Oh."
sideways. You're
yeah.
like, uh-oh.
So-
So you ain't gonna spin
It's
it.
a competition of anxious and seeing how good your opponents are. That's a ridiculous. That's interesting.
It's fun.
It's a mind game right there. It's a
It's
mind fuck.
fun.
It's
It's
a mind
fun.
fuck right there. Because if it was up to me, I'd be like little hits. But then if I see you over there right before me, put it in like a half an inch, I'm like, fuck.
You gotta go for it, right?
Yeah.
You just gotta go for
Like,
it.
what would you do? Oh God.
Yeah.
So
Come out and see us. It's going to be a good time.
Noon, $10, 10 to 15, 10.
It's 10. It's
10. 10 for these awesome glasses with the beautiful logo on there, as you see. With
With the
logo.
fill. One fill.
One free fill. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I like brats a lot. So I make a lot of my pastas and
Sure.
with brats and stuff like that, and spicy brats or
Yeah.
different versions of it. But so I've never been a big fan of just eating a brat before. I only do it at German festivals.
Yeah. Well, KB Brats is they've got some of the best German food you can get.
Yes,
I mean,
they're
it's
good.
really.
They
really
are
good.
German people too. They've got the thick German accents. They know they have all the homeland recipes.
I like
Good
it.
stuff. Good stuff.
Great stuff.
So I'll be here with my camera, taking pictures and videos and vlogging that day.
Love it.
We'll be hanging out.
Yeah,
we better
perfect.
than the barbecue last year.
It's a good time.
No,
different.
not the event,
Oh,
not the
the
event,
pi-
not
pictures.
the picture.
Oh, the pictures.
Yeah, not the event. Let me clarify. I said it kind of weird.
I got you.
Not the event. All the events.
Both
here.
events are
His
equally
video
awesome
will
in
be
their own way.
much better.
Yeah,
All right.
and the audio will be much better because we're prepared this time.
Well, Prost. One last time.
Cheers. All right. He's out.
That's bad
In
luck.
sympathy. In sympathy.
Done.
So that's my. I don't know if you want to keep going or not, but
No, I got a place to be.
that's no problem. I appreciate it. So I
Oh, sorry.
appreciate that. But
We're gonna be
Yeah, go do
showing
it. Y'all
some
hang
beer.
out. Go